Hey, greetings everyone, and welcome to season two, episode one of Lines on the Page. I'm your host, Thomas Price, and I do apologize for this light that actually happens to be right behind me. The only reason is because one of the lights up here went out, looked a little bit dark over here with the board, and so I just happened to have this light right behind me. Just make me see the page a little bit easier, and hopefully you guys are going to be able to see the page as well. And let me just do this. Maybe that'll work. So today we're going to be doing things traditionally, of course, and I am working on prints, which I wanted to do WildCATS. Now, the reason that I'm wanting to do WildCATS is pretty simple. Um, Most people that have been into comics, especially Image comics, they know exactly who WildCats are. If you have read DC Comics within the last 15 years, you definitely know who WildCats are. For those of you who do not know what WildCats are, Image Comics, when Jim Lee was part of the original group over at Image, he created a super team of sorts, basically called WildCats. And in some ways, yes, it basically is a slight copy to his whole super teamness with his previous job, which was X-Men. However, there's very obvious differences between the two, mainly because with X-Men, you're dealing with mutants, whereas with WildCats, you're dealing with aliens, half aliens, cyborg. I'm not sure what Void is. And of course, your typical human mercenary character. So, all that being said, figured that this would be a fun one to do, and actually happened to have done a really quick layout earlier today, or I should say a thumbnail, and looks something like this. So as you can obviously tell, whenever I do thumbnails, it's easier for me to do this quickly and efficiently, if not traditionally, then definitely digitally, if I happen to not have any paper right in front of me. And when you're dealing with multiple characters, especially when you start dealing with more than three characters, it's easier for you to quickly color code certain characters here and there so you can get an idea. And I was kind of going after after the battle, actually you can tell there are buildings that are just like half blown apart. There's a bit of a nod to Akira, uh, but I've got everyone lined up. Now you're probably wondering, since the only figures that are shown are Grifter, Voodoo, Zealot, Spartan, Warblade, Void, and Maul. That's seven characters total. Probably wondering where's Lord Imp, where's Noir, where's Condition Red, where's Savant, where's Tau, where's Lady Mechanica, so on and so forth. The reason that I'm leaving those characters out is because if I did something where I had the entire team, I would literally have to rip off um, the Kevin McGuire uh, angle up uh, photo of that one of the Justice League where you've got Guy Gardner being like a total douche like Guy Gardner. But anyways, I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to do something that was a little bit epic to a degree, and figured that this would probably be the best layout I could possibly do. Um, and I also wanted to do some costume choices that I felt like were the best representations of the costumes of these characters. Definitely with Grifter, I wanted to eschew away the trench coat. I wanted to get rid of the really weird sci-fi pistol that he had in the very beginning, go back to a more low tech type character, which it makes sense. That's who he is. That's what he does. Um, I did want to bring in the full bodysuit voodoo, but I am going to have the Damon Eye arm kind of showing at the same time. Which, by the way, if you're wondering what it is that she's sitting on, it's actually tank treads. Because I'm going to have a kind of like armored vehicle tank thing completely obliterated, and she's sitting on it. With Zealot, one of the things that I feel like what's easier with that character is the fact of when to get rid of the very strange costume that she had originally and make it more sci-fi suit of armor basically, and only give her the one sword instead of two. Spartan, there is a version of his costume which only appeared for a couple of issues, and I feel like that was the better version of the costume. It was actually a random sketch to try to show what he happened to have done. Warblade, there is a version of his suit in the fourth issue of the second run, um, where it's like a backstory. It's like the final mission before the team has split up. With Maul, it's basically the second iteration of his costume. So that being said, let's get straight down into it. And as you can see, which I completely apologize for the garbage back here. It's basically my portfolios and some drawing supplies. They're kind of scattered about. But today we're really only going to be focusing on the pencil. Now I've got a black and white printout of the same thing, which I'll probably be pulling up the original at some point within. I really have no idea how soon that I am going to be doing that. But before I forget, I'm doing an important thing that I have to do, which is housekeeping. And for almost 3 months of not doing this, so for us to be able to get back onto it. Haven Comics is located at 1871 Slaughter Road, Suite F in Matson, Alabama. And we are open Wednesday through Sunday. And please remember to like and subscribe if you happen to like the show and any other show that we happen to do through our YouTube page. It helps us out immensely. I'm not just saying this just to say this. Every like, subscribe, share, comment, anything like that, it draws in traffic for people who may have never watched any of our shows before to actually watch our show. So every little bit helps. We're not just saying it just to say it, it actually does help. And if you want to figure out where you can find me on social media, you can just type in any social media platform you have to be on. Just type in tpriceartworks, all one word, or you can go to my link tree and find all the different places that I have put on there. And hopefully this year I'll be able to get that website up because I'm going to be doing a small little mailing list that I'll do probably once a month. And it's basically just updates, conventions, and events that I have to be at, certain things that will more likely be releasing within a time period. So we've got multiple things and avenues to possibly, or you just follow me on social media, and chances are you'll probably see all that stuff. So let's get back to it. It's been a while since I've drawn anything on 11 by 17, so this is going to be interesting. All right, so like I said, I've got a black and white printout of the thumbnail and try to blow it up as much as possible to fit a normal sheet of paper. If you're wondering what kind of paper that I'm doing this on, this is a 11 by 17 Eon comic board. And this is mostly what I do a lot of my interiors and prints on. So let's get the show on the road, shall we? Now, I'll probably be doing a lot of erasing here and there because it's one thing to do it, a thumbnail and having a large version of it, and it's another when you've got the actual piece of paper that you're doing on. And if I was smart, I would have had a flimsier 11 by 17 piece of paper and printed this out, stretched out, light box, but unfortunately, that is not in my cards. So, all right. So first things first, I'm just going to loosely gesture out the characters one by one. I do apologize if you're not able to see the pencils, and that's just because I'm using a very light lead first. And oh, hang on. Here we are. We got Tots in the comments. Season 2 premiere. We saw the cliffhanger from the season 1 finale. It's a really good question. I don't know, chat. What do you think? But like I said, I use a bit of a softer lead first, or in this case, graphite, just because it's a lot easier for me to erase things and make corrections as I go. And I'm just quickly blocking in what's going to be a bit of a modified M4 uh, Rifter. I completely apologize if stay tuned on Dragon Ball Z. I do apologize if I'm hitting uh, the drawing cam, and I do apologize for that. There's only so many places that I can have this thing attached and not accidentally bump into it. But yeah, like I said, I definitely prefer Grifter when he is uh, low tech. Um, I mean, basically the I hate to say this, but I mean he's kind of like how I would think Hawkeye is when he was joining the Avengers, and basically just kind of makes the statement in Age of Ultron. When the city is basically flying close to like 1,000 feet off the ground, if not more. But he's just like, um, the city is flying up to the sky. There are robots everywhere, and all I got is a bow and arrow. It doesn't make sense. And so I definitely feel like Grifter has the same kind of outlook mentality that Hawkeye does. Now, another interesting thing is that when it comes to the characters of the Wildcats, I've only drawn three of them: uh, Grifter, Zealot, and Voodoo. Those are the only three that I've ever drawn. So it's going to be really interesting to do these characters because today, as far as just like the thumbnails are concerned, I've never drawn Warblade before, never drawn Spartan or Maul or Void. So, which I feel like Void is going to be the easiest out of the group. But I definitely want a low tech, tactical. Well, I say tactical in the sense of like what a mercenary would more likely have. So, Kevlar vests, uh, give them a small backpack of some kind. More likely, it's got extra things put in his arsenal. Sure, let's give him a t-shirt. Now, I do prefer Grifter when he's got the flowing Brad Pitt hair, if you will. Right, so he's right here now. Loosely sketch in the slightly destroyed tank treads. Now, I kind of got the idea for this tank in two different places. The first one is an old uh, manga and anime called the Minion Tank Police, where there is the police force basically here are using tanks, and you're probably thinking that's like absolute overkill, and you're not wrong. But it is a sci-fi comedy of sorts, so just gonna have to forgive the stuff. But if you've never seen or watched Dominion Tank Police, it's definitely a product of the time, if you will. But loosely put these in, which I will definitely go over these areas where I'm guessing they're wheels, axles of some kind with an actual um, template sorts. I wanted to have this thing in here, which also in the second iteration, first issue of this, you've got a giant tank that shows up during a whole arms deal that Grifter and Spartan are trying to throw down. And it does this little like transformation thing. So it's got separate treads and you've got this whole thing going on. So it's also a bit of a nod to that. But like the idea of having voodoo sit on it. And like I said, I kind of prefer the um, updated version of her costume during the first wave, where uh, pretty sure if it wasn't Jim Lee, it was definitely Travis, but did an update to her costume, got rid of the really extremely dumb, uh, really don't even know what to call it. Really not even stripper boots, but it's just the weird fur boot things that she had uh, when the series got started. To pull up this so I can make sure. One of the hardest things to do is, at least for me, it may not be for you guys, but for me, it's actually drawing a character uh, feet up. And it's something that I've been slowly doing in my off time. But in this version, uh, like I said, still keeping the bodysuit, but I'm actually going to give her a pistol. And the reason behind it is uh, this was something that was kind of, I guess, talked about a little bit. But in the series, when it gets to, I have it right here. So for the longest time, Voodoo was just kind of like a character that was just there, and it wasn't until I forgot who it was. It was either Alan Moore or who was the other writer at that time period. Um, it wasn't Brandon Choi. It was. This is going to drive me insane. Maybe Robertson, but they did an entire story arc where um, she finally, I guess, figured out to the fact that she is part demonite, is able to tap into that, and so she's able to get some sort of like strength. But anyways, in the second run, um, Scott Lobdell makes her character a lot more interesting, and so she's got. Let's see if I can. Yeah, so she's got a pistol right here, and then here she is again with an M16, and I think it's a what's the name of the grenade launcher? I think it's an M203. I believe that's what it is. But I mean, she just looks absolutely badass in this, and I wanted to bring back, I guess, this version of her personality to earlier costume, and that's the only reason why I'm giving her a pistol. But I still want to keep the fact that she is also uh, part demonite. got several different pictures and represents of the Wildcats throughout the 90s on my laptop. So basically having to go back and forth, just figuring out all these costumes and eras. And now I will say this though, I have no clue if I'm going to be able to get the final penciling and stuff done by the time that the show ends tonight. So that's definitely a very TBD kind of situation. But does not mean that I can't try. Right. So Great. Got that down. And almost dead center, we've got Zealot right here, which we're going to have Spartan Warblade right here. So in some ways, you could, if you wanted to be extremely meticulous and you know, measure out the distances between characters and do it that route, which is totally fine and definitely do it. Um, Usually that's not how my brain works, depending what it is, but generally not how my brain works. All right, now we've got Zealot. Got their tab open to figure out the whole armor situation. You're going to hate me, guys, but I'm going to have to put my head in the way, so do apologize for that. That's more. It's kind of been like a really weird on running debate between fans, which version of uh, Zelda that people like, whether it's the short hair, the long hair, kind of prefer medium. Although I am definitely not against the short hair version, especially in the X-Men WildCATS Golden Age. Definitely. Um, entire story that it's just absolutely there's really no other way to say it or look at it. It's extremely well done. It's kind of a slight masterclass on its own. Looking through the books just to see if I can get this one out real quick. But don't want to feel like you guys are wasting time watching nothing. Also, it does not help to the fact that I have been drawing nothing but suits of sci-fi armor last several days. So in some ways, I'm kind of armored out. It's definitely been an interesting education for sure. All right, there. All right. Quickly and Marmalade. Now, this is a version from issue 4 that I actually really like. It's actually this whole costume that he's got going on right here. I know that there's going to be that one person that be like, you know, where are the cables or lights in the old metal, so on and so forth. And again, there are varying different versions of the same character. And you can't tell me that characters that have been around for 30 years can have updates to their look. And the best part about this is that it's going to be a little bit of rendering because the vast majority of his costume is going to be technically blacked out against all of the shiny bits, liquid metal, whatever it is. But sorry guys, I'm going to have to move my head under here again. things on this. Uh, Trying to figure out here. There. Now it's around. One of the things that bugged me so much reading WildCATS, which is the fact of Spartan's supposed to be this, Captain America-esque android of sorts. Why is he always getting blown up and all this stuff? Doesn't make sense. Um, glad he had fixed that to a degree. And second volume of the series. All right, so got possibly some of the hardest characters I've had to sit and think about. And right, next up is going to be Maul, and he's going to be taking up this section right over here. Now, Maul is actually, again, one I've never drawn before. Not for like, you know, lack of not wanting to. I just never really think about drawing the character, for being perfectly honest. But I think one of the best ways to think about the character when drawing it is Hulk in a jumpsuit. Uh, really the only way that I can think about it. Now, I did find it really interesting when Scott Lobdell was, which Alan Moore wrote a bit more, I guess, a bit more in depth regarding Jeremy being a Titanthrope of sorts, which is basically what Maul's um, power set is, and also technically the original race of uh, natives that lived on Karen before the Karens took over. So, but Scott Lobdell had done something really interesting with the character. It was an issue 2. So one of the things about Maul is that the bigger he gets, the less intelligent he becomes. And so there's a scene where in the second issue of the second volume where Maul, or Jeremy, I should say, is trying to do some super advanced science stuff, and he basically doesn't really like shrink himself, but he gets rid of basically almost all of his body mass, so he literally looks like a mummy. And in some ways, it just kind of taps right into his, uh, or I guess his intelligence had jumped to the nth degree, and I thought that was really cool. Now, here's the thing. Uh, Even though this is on an 11 by 17 comic board and there is the cutoff sections for like bleed or whatever, you really don't have to worry about that whenever you're doing, uh, a print, pen up, whatever. Unless it's actually being printed in a book, then yes, you do have to follow the guidelines with the bleed and trim. But considering the fact that I don't have to worry about that when it gets scanned because I can resize it. Um, but if you are doing sequential panels, that is something that you do have to keep an eye out. That's one thing I hate doing is bending the pages like this. Definitely feels like sacrilege when I do that. I'm just trying to get some. Sorry, my voice just kind of trailed off a bit there. Basically, just trying to make sure that I've got this down the way that I wanted to. So we've got 1, 1 this way, 1, 2 going that way. And the best part is that big enough that he's going to basically stay in the back. And an M that I want. Yeah. All right. And last but not least, we got Void flying in the background. Which I'm really not even sure what happened to her character between the ending of the first volume and the beginning of the second. I do remember there being uh, there's probably 1 or 2 different specials that existed, but I know one of them dealt with a story regarding her character. And I know that there was an entire issue where she basically had to um, digitally teleport herself into uh, like a brainwave, Voodoo's brainwave, actually. It's actually definitely was a bit of a cool issue. Really have no clue as to what happened to her character. One of the things that I had to, I guess, prepare my brain whenever I was just trying to figure out these layouts was to look at several different people that I know that did big supergroup picture stuff really well. Um, so I mean, there are some obvious, you know, people that are my influences, but I wanted to reach outside of it. So I looked at guys like Stuart Eminem, looked at Carlos Pacheco. I looked at uh, Pepe as monotonous as far uh, who's it? It's on my brain earlier today. It's driving me nuts. Chris Bocciolo, that's who I was thinking of. Which all of those guys, their styles, influences, whatever, are very different. Sometimes you kind of need to sort of do like a bigger picture kind of situation whenever you need to learn, and sometimes even humble yourself. Try to do almost daily. Technically, it's like all, but I just want to make sure it wasn't something that was missing. Knowing me, there is always lots. There's some energy stuff regarding void. That starting when I have a little bit of a eye flicker thing going on. And all right, so basically have very loose, but we do have the layout down regarding the entire team. And what's going to happen next is that I'm going to be quickly just and slightly sporadically blocking in a couple different areas where there's going to be some fallen buildings, which it is also looking like my phone is going to be on its last legs really soon, which I had a feeling that was going to happen. Swear I can't keep that thing at a full charge anymore. And it's going to block out an area that I think it's going to have some damage. So we get this in before I forget. Uh, Whenever you're wanting to draw buildings and they're like completely just blown to shreds, it's easiest, uh, what I've learned, to go ahead and draw the building exactly as it is, and then you start picking out the pieces that are going to be quote unquote no more. Now, the best part about this, which at some point you guys will end up probably figuring this out, uh, as you see later, but on top of this being the print that I'm going to be releasing, hopefully as early as I'm just going to spitball, and this is really just dealing with the printers and the distributor. But if I can get this thing completely inked, scanned, colored, sent off, and have the prints back, this is also going to end up being my banner for the next couple of years for conventions. Aha, there it is. So that is the plan. All right. I hate the fact that I'm not able to completely finish this off because, like I said, my drawing cam is basically on its last leg as of right now. But for the most part, the layout of it is done. Now, you're probably wondering what's going to be happening down here, and most of this is going to get completely blacked out, but there is going to be obvious a lot of rubble, a lot of stone, and there's even going to be bullet casings kind of littered here and there and everywhere on the bottom, and pretty obvious my signature is going to be somewhere around here, but um, the background, because this is also going to be, when it gets enlarged, it's also going to be the banner that I'm going to be having. And so obviously name's going to be right here. Social media stuff is going to be down here as well. So the other part of my reason behind, um, sorry, let me do this. So the other part of the reason as to my trying to make sure that these the heads of these characters don't go too far up or everyone isn't like super up close because like I said, I wanted to be able to show characters, have a background of sorts, have the characters I guess exist within this background. And like I said, I hate the fact that we're not able to continue on with the pencils, but I will be posting the scan regarding the final pencils and the inks, which there's going to be a version of this with a couple of close-up pictures and stuff like that on social media, but the high-res scan of both the pencils and also the inks, and then of course colors will be on my Patreon, so you'll be able to download that and also have that as well to look at. But the thing with the backgrounds is that there is going to be a decent amount of detail on them, but there's also going to be enough, I guess, sparseness that they'll kind of fade because there is going to be some level of like smoke, debris, whatever that's going to exist within this picture as well. Um, and also just double checking everyone's proportions, even though they are technically correct. I just want to make sure that everything's all right and finer detail stuff like making sure that everything regarding the gun is accurate because one of the biggest problems with the 90s is that a lot of the guys, especially the early image guys, could not draw a gun to save their life. I mean, they can draw guns, but they just could not draw an actual gun to save their life until they actually had to hire artists that could. And I know that throws a lot of the OG guys under the bus, but if you pick up any of the early titles and you look at the weapons in them, with the exception of like a pistol, that may be the only thing that they've gotten accurate. Anything regarding submachine guns, assault rifles, rocket launchers, whatever. Uh, it, yeah, magazines in the wrong places and all that stuff. Anyways, total tangent aside. Um, One of the fun things about this is the fact of it is a nod to one of three different Wildstorm. Whoa, didn't mean to lose that. Um, this is one of three different Wildstorm properties that has continued to be my absolute favorites of the bunch. The other two being Stormwatch and the Authority. Uh, but like I said, if you grew up in the 90s, chances are you read WildCATS. If you have read anything regarding DC Comics within the last 10 to 15 years, chances are you have recognized any of these characters within the WildCATS, which, by the way, if you did not pick up the recent limited, I think it was a 12-issue run of WildCATS, uh, definitely pick it up. Please stop by Haven Comics because chances are we more likely have them. Um, but definitely do that, and also Birds of Prey because Zealot is for the very first time is a part of the Birds of Prey, and it's absolutely hilarious to see the fact that she has been teamed up with Harley Quinn. Uh, just personality conflicts all around. Which also I think for the very first time, Big Barda is also part of Birds of Prey as well. So it's really interesting to see that. And also the team dynamic, which the story is really good. It took me a while to warm up to the art style, but after that, it was just smooth sailing from then on. Um, but yeah, definitely recommend that you guys definitely try to pick up anything regarding Wildcats whatsoever, whether it is at Haven Comics or your local comic shop, which I hope to everything in the universe that you do happen to have a local comic shop. And if not, there is always Amazon. But if there are any versions regarding Wildcats, I highly recommend the Alan Moore omnibus of Wildcats. It is a fantastic run, even though he did kind of get knocked off the path just because they were trying to do crossovers, and that really took away from the full complete vision of what he was trying to put across. And I would say he got maybe 75 to 80% of that out there, uh, with his very long run of Wildcats. And then, of course, also uh, this run with Scott Lobdell, which I hate to say it, it only lasted 6 issues. Uh, there's a lot of different factors that ended up happening within this run. Some of it was on Travis regarding not really being able to follow with deadlines. Thankfully, Brian Hitch was able to step in issue 5. Uh, and then, of course, Travis came back in number 6. But then it changed hands regarding, got who it was that, let's see, it was Sean Phillips and someone else that was a part of that run for a while. I noticed Steve Dillon drew several issues of that as well. But anyways, brain frying, phone's about to die. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Really kind of rocky start for a first episode within the second season. You would think I would have all this stuff down, but I don't. So before I forget, we're going to do the quick housekeeping stuff. Haven Comics, located at 1871 Slaughter Road, Suite F in Madison, Alabama. And it is open on Wednesday through Sunday. So please do not stop by the store on Mondays and Tuesdays. And please remember to like and subscribe. Every like, subscribe, share, comment. It helps us out immensely. We're not just saying that to say that, it actually does help. And it also directs eyes towards our channel. And if you want to figure out where you can find me on social media, you can just type in tpriceartworks in the search bar of your favorite social media app. Chances are you will find me there. Or you can just go through my link tree and you can find all the different places that I'm at, including Patreon, which I'm starting to get back in the habit of regularly uploading stuff there as well. And before I forget, if you haven't already heard, if you are planning to want to come to the Huntsville Expo in April, I believe it's April 12th through 14th, we have the physical tickets, both single day and also the weekend pass, not the VIP, just the weekend pass. We have all of those physically in store. So if you're wanting to get tickets and you're wanting to get these things in your hands in advance, so you're not having to wait at the door to buy them there, or having to deal with online stuff as well, stop by the store during store hours. We will have them. We will have plenty of them up until about the time of the expo starting. So please, please, please stop by our store, get your tickets sooner than better. All that being said, I hope you guys have a good night and a good start of your weekend. See you later.